Welcome to the Lazy Money Machine podcast. It's me, Eric ten Haaf in Jakarta. And Graham, where are you?
I am in London, England today.
Cool. We thought we start this episode with some music this time and see how you guys like it. If you like it, let us know. If you don't like us, let us know too.
Yep.
We have a bit of an intro. So today, Graham, again, found some audio on the internet. And the audio is from a bit of a, might say a controversial person, I think.
Dan Pena.
Yeah, no, we've had Dan already on the show, yeah. No, this time it's...
If it starts with, you cunt.
No, but it's close to that. So let's see if you recognize this guy.
He just loved it. And I think more than anything else, not because of what he taught me lots of different things.
Okay, stop. Oh, wait. He starts halfway the interview. Hang on, one more. You can try it one more time here.
Is it Gary Vaynerchuk?
No, it's not here. We go again.
Your father was successful in real estate. Obviously been highly successful. What did you learn from your father?
Well, he loved to work, and he was happy. He was a happy man. He wasn't, one of these guys, and I know many of them, and you know many of them, they're in their psychiatrist every day. I say, what do you do? My father was a worker, and he loved to work. He'd work on Saturdays. He'd work on Sundays. He just liked it. He'd go to church, but after church, he'd go and work. He'd go check a building that he was putting up in Brooklyn. He was mostly in Brooklyn and Queens, and he just loved it. And I think more than anything else, not because of what he taught me lots of different things, but I watched him be a happy man and work until he was like literally 93. He was 93 years old when he died. And I said to myself, that's a pretty good formula, because I have a lot of friends, they take vacations for 6 weeks and 8 weeks and 3 months, and they're never happy. So I watched my father, so I like to work.
Okay, so 3 guesses. Wow. Who is this?
Donald Trump.
Yeah, definitely. And I picked this particular clip because he speaks about his father. And after listening to this, I dug up a little bit more into his history about, how he got to where he is. And obviously Donald Trump is one of the, I don't have him here as the example of the American president. I basically tried to pull him up here as, one of the most well-known real estate developers and investors, I think, in the world. And so basically he takes his dad as an example, and he speaks about how his father was working all the time. He speaks about the fact that he goes to church, he goes back, and he starts to work. Now, he has a relentless work ethic still. I know that he sleeps, the rumors are he sleeps only 4 hours. And looking at his dad, his dad built a big real estate portfolio in Manhattan, in New York. And Donald basically inherited this. And he speaks often about how he's a self-made man and everything. But if you really look into the history, he got a lot of wealth from his father. And his father built a big real estate portfolio. So this is interesting, I think. Could this be an example that we need to follow, Graham? Or do you think that what we're trying to do is, build a portfolio that requires as little work as possible? Which way is better, you think?
So I don't get the question. What you're asking me, if Donald Trump or Donald Trump Sr. is a model to follow?
Yeah. So here's a guy who's in real estate, but he's doing it differently from how we're proposing we do this, right? We try to teach people to set up systems, set up teams, so that your real estate portfolio works for itself, and you don't have to spend a whole lot of time maintaining and running it. Now, here's Donald Trump, and with the example of his father, but this also reflects on him. He likes to work too. He prides himself of making long hours and little sleep.
Well, there's many options in real estate. I think that's the key, isn't it? Real estate isn't just about buying a portfolio and managing the portfolio, which is kind of what we suggest in the Lazy Money Machine. Right. There are other options, such as being a real estate developer.
Yes.
Which is, more the Donald Trump family, which is building buildings. Mm-hmm. Or golf courses or land, which is another option. And there's money to be made there as well, without a doubt. I think the key takeaway from this, And what I find interesting about this, it just goes to show that real estate doesn't give a shit who you are.
Yes.
You know, you could be Donald Trump. You could be who else? I mean, who else have we had on the show as an example? It really doesn't matter. Arnie.
Right.
Other examples that we had on the show. I mean, doesn't that just go to show that you could be anyone and make money in real estate?
Yeah. I found another clip, maybe we picked that one up too, which is, this is an interview that his Ivanka, his daughter, and I think Eric, one of his sons, did with him. And they asked him about the following.
The things we talked about when you were interviewing us is your ability to see a proposal, really get to the core of it, and then really, you know, decide if it's a viable option for you. What gives you that strength? How are you able to do it? And how do you view all the, you know, enormous amount of proposals that come to you each day?
Well, I have a lot of good people that work for me, and they bring lots of proposals to me. And I'm a big believer in looking at lots of different things so you have a choice. You have a menu. It's like going to a fine restaurant. Usually the better the restaurant, the more things you see on the menu. You have a menu of things, and then you choose the one or two or three that you like. I know people that look at one deal, and they do that one deal, and they don't see a big display in front of them. And usually that one deal doesn't work out so well. So I like to have a big choice, a big variety. It's very important to me. And then I'll choose a percentage of them that I think are good. You get to see a big, beautiful menu, and that's what I like.
Big, beautiful menu.
Beautiful. It's like his wall. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
He's right, though. I mean, you know, politically he's an idiot, but as a businessman, he's smart up to an extent. But he's right there, you know. And when you're in a position of advantage like he started, you do get a lot of options presented to you, right?
Yeah, he attracts it purely, even in the early days, I'm sure, based on the results of his dad, right? I mean, the Trump family in the U.S., in New York, was known as the player, right? They were the guys that you had to follow. But this approach that he takes is a good reminder. The reason I selected this clip is this is also what we talk about in the book, right? We have a formula for it whereby we say that, you know, go and look at many options before you actually pick the one that you want to invest in. And
it's not time wasted either. I think that's the thing people are worried about, isn't it? That it costs a lot of time to go and look at options, but every option you look at, you learn something.
Absolutely. And it might refine the strategy that you have set out for yourself. For instance, if you decide that you want to go into maybe single-family houses, it's also good to look at apartments. It's also good to look at bigger things, just so you get a feel for different areas in where you want to invest. And in Donald's case, he has a method for it. He gets, you know, lots of proposals. He gets his team to evaluate them, and then the ones that he likes, he picks out and he possibly invests in. And I think, you know, it's an interesting approach, and it's a good reminder, I think, that if Donald Trump does something like this, it might be worth considering and seeing whether this is something that, you know, we need to apply in our daily lives, and maybe not only in real estate, but also in other business opportunities. If you're looking at other areas of business you might want to get into, I don't think you should go for the first thing that crosses your path, but you should always, you know, look around and look at the menu, as Donald Trump says, and see which one you want to pick and which one you want to go for. Especially with houses, looking around, seeing lots of different options will broaden your perspective and will give you insights in the things that suit you and suit your strategy. So I think a few lessons we could learn from Donald Trump. You might not agree with his political views, but definitely interesting to hear from him how he looks at certain things. So the two things you heard were look at various options and you know, his work ethic, what he took out from his dad and what he learned from his dad. So we'll see you in the next episode with yet another guest, Graham, I think.